Scientists and doctors are reacting angrily to Health Minister Helen Clark's scheme to cut money from medical research and divert it to public health. The minister made no secret where her loyalty lies, opening a public health conference in Dunedin today. And already the move is splitting the scientific community. Michael Lynch reports.
Helen Clark got a heartfelt Māori welcome today. Both the Māori and the public health professionals see her move to strip research funding and shift it to disease prevention as a good thing. But in laboratories around the country, they're seething. The minister is undismayed.
And I have to say that nothing in the defensive, sometimes obsessive and rather emotive reaction of some has changed that judgment.
There have been some statements made that I suppose could be described as emotive, but I think many of them have been justified. One of the real problems with this health research bill has been what I think you could describe as the appalling lack of communication between the people who have been drafting the bill and the people who are actually employed in medical research in New Zealand.
And it's not only researchers who are upset at the minister. New Zealand's only professor of general practice might be expected to be on his side. He's not.
And I just repeat a very simple fact that you can't start preventing and stop curing. You've got to do both at the same time. And if you don't do both at the same time, then people will die.
But the minister, as they say, is on a roll. She'll introduce her anti-smoking bill to Parliament tomorrow.
The leaders of Dunedin's Jewish community say recent publicity about Nazi war criminals probably prompted last night's graffiti attack on the city's synagogue. The spiritual home of the Dunedin Jewish congregation was desecrated by vandals using paint spray cans. Swastikas and anti-Semitic messages were sprayed on the wall of the synagogue facing out onto Union Street. A spokesperson for the synagogue says it happens from time to time, with the last attack not long ago. He describes this as one of the worst. The Jewish community won't be laying a complaint with the police and still has to decide when the graffiti will be cleaned off. A Dunedin High Court judge has dismissed an application for a judicial review over a case concerning imported bicycles. The Minister of Consumer Affairs claimed the bikes were dangerous and ordered the importer to recall them and refund the owners. Justice Tipping delivered the 84-page judgment today. There'll be some serious talking about rubbish dumps in Dunedin over the next few days. On Monday, the Dunedin City Council's Operations Committee will be looking at a $5 million scheme to improve the Green Island tip. But as Mark Price reports, that's likely to be overshadowed by a user pays argument.
Commercial users already pay as they tip, and the suggestion is that everyone else should too. Something like $2 per car and an extra $1 if the car's towing a trailer. Invercargill people pay $2.50 for a car and trailer. In Auckland, the charge is $22. On Monday night, this vexed subject will be thrashed out by a council committee.
The situation here really is, do we charge the people for using the tip through a property tax rates, or do they pay when they use the tip?
And what's the answer to that?
Well, this will be decided on Monday night.
Mr Jones's intention is to use the media to gauge the public's response to the idea of charges, and this is how it was at the tip today.
I think it should come under your rates, or if you're a ratepayer, you should get it for nothing. That should be charged part of your rates.
It appears, though, that if you paid here, you wouldn't pay through your rates.
Yeah, well, most people have rubbish or got used to the tip, haven't they? So it should all, everyone's a ratepayer. It should all come out of that, I feel.
Living where I live, we pay 75 cents a tin to have it dumped, and we have to come out here and pay for having to dump it at the tip. So, really speaking, I would be terribly unhappy with that.
Well, they do it everywhere else, I think. I think you'd find more rubbish around the streets than what we have now.
Tip charges haven't yet been adopted, but they're already part of the council's draft budget and worth $350,000 a year. The charges are just one part of suggested changes to the tip. The council may spend $5 million turning the tip into what experts call a sanitary landfill, with the emphasis on sanitary.
A business in Oamaru earning more than $1.5 million a month in exports has been awarded a government export commendation. The award was made this afternoon by the Minister of Agriculture, Jim Sutton, and Kathy Graham was there.
For the tannery, the second biggest in the country, it's been a story of rags, or rather pelts, to riches. These dyeing machines turn out the stone-washed leather look, which is all the rage. 135 people are employed at the tannery, which can boast a 50% increase in business every year for the past 4 years. But it's the increase in export earnings which has endeared it to the government. They're up more than 50% in the last year, with more than half the product going to Australia. The tannery, which started 20 years ago with just 11 workers, now operates around the clock, 7 days a week, using pelts from all over the country. For North Otago, it's an experiment in added value which has paid off handsomely.
Mayoral receptions are normally reserved for royalty, politicians and big business. But last night, the Dunedin City Council paid tribute to another group which has brought honour to the province, its sportspeople. Ken Nicholson was at the reception for the champions of the city.
During the summer months, whether it was on the cricket field, the bowling green, or at the Commonwealth Games, local sportspeople brought honour to Dunedin and the province of Otago, and last night a mayoral reception paid tribute to their efforts. And the range of sporting activities was great, from the host of medal winners at the Special Olympics, who drew particular praise from the Mayor.
Special Olympics and things they call them now, and look, these are achievers all. Richard Gutzel, 10-pin bowling. I want you to come and play for the Mayor's team. I've heard all about you.
The swimmer of the Otago Harbour, Robert Johnson, and the various coaches who were so instrumental in their successes.
Well, I think it's very important the city recognise the achievements of all the people that are here tonight. They've got pride in themselves and the community's got pride in them.
Of course, Dunedin and Otago as a province gets a lot of feedback from top performance.
Of course it does. In fact, at one stage we thought we might take the town hall, put all the competitors, there were so many of them, on the floor of the town hall and have the guests stand on the stage.
And because of those numbers, this function was only to recognise the champions of the summer season. Another will be held for our winter champions, and goodness only knows what the council caterers will need if Otago wins the Ranfurly Shield.
And in news just to hand, the parasite bulimia has forced an immediate reduction in the bluff oyster quota, Fisheries Minister Ken Shirley announced today. Mr Shirley said that the 1990s seasonal quota for oysters in the Fogo Strait dredge oyster fishery will be halved from 92,000 sacks a year to 46,000 sacks a year. If you think there have been lots of people walking, running and even roller skating around the country for various charities lately, you'd be right. The latest one to hit Dunedin is a Timaru man who's been walking around New Zealand with a shopping cart and a dog to publicise the plight of the unemployed. Lee Bramwell caught up with him today.
A loyal band of supporters from among Dunedin's unemployed escorted Doug Wilson into the city today. And while the temperature may have been low, the group's spirits were high. Doug's from Timaru, where he's the founder of an organisation called We Start Again, a club to help unemployed people promote their skills and talents. The 53-year-old's been on the road for about 3 months now, accompanied by his shopping trolley and faithful dog employment. Of course, Doug's not the first person to walk or run the country for a cause. You might remember some of these.
Just looking. We'll be back tomorrow. Good night.